Hey everyone, it's Rashidaamarshall. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We're going to take it into a quick how-to video on a movement in Pilates that I really enjoy doing, which is crisscross. So this movement is a part of the ab series in Pilates for those who are familiar. It is the last of those 5 exercises, and it's really good for allowing us to feel the connection to the deep abdominal muscles because there's a rotation aspect to the move. And when you're performing it correctly and really focusing on pelvic stability, connecting to your breath and working from the right areas, then it really does the job, and it's great for core control, core strength, improving our posture, and all of those good things. So as we go through, I will also break down some different modifications and ways that you can build up to performing the full movement, and then ways that you can even challenge it if you'd like to do so. So with this movement, for those who are familiar with bicycle crunches that you tend to see in more gym settings or in like ab routines, then this is going to look really familiar. The difference is though that you have a little less flexion as you're going into it, and you want to be very mindful of pelvic stability because that's going to allow for you to work from the right areas to take you into that twist. So you have some differences, but definitely similarities. So we're going to lower down. Now, the full variation of the move, or the full way that you perform it, you would have the hands behind the back of the head, and you would have the legs lifted, starting in a tabletop position. And you twist to one side. The opposite leg that you're not twisting to is lengthened out. You find that rotation. You kind of move through tabletop, and then you go over to the other side. Okay? So, what you want to think about as you're going through is you want the pelvis to stay anchored down, right? So when I'm in a class setting, I like to say, think of the pelvis being heavy on the mat as you go through. This way, when you twist, you're not rotating and coming up, right? You don't want to go through and you're lifting off of the mat for each one, because then you're not really engaging the core as much as you could be. So you want to keep the hips heavy, and you also want to think of, rather than it being like your elbow going towards the knee, which is more of that bicycle crunch variation, you want to think of your shoulder going towards the knee. So now you're deepening the core muscles and the engagement as you go into that, versus just pulling your elbow in, where you're not going to be working as much as you could be. So those are some things that you want to think about there. And you still want to find that upper ab curl. So you still want to feel like you're lifting the chest to the ceiling as you get started, and then find that rotation of the shoulder towards the knee. Now, when you come into center, when you have that tabletop, you'll feel that the core is still working as you're here, as you transition towards the other side. So if you kind of think of all those elements as you go through, you're going to notice how it feels a bit different from your bicycle crunches, which are still effective, still great. I love to do those, but these ones just have a little bit more of a precision and a control and a focus that you want to mix into it, so that you are connecting to the body in the way that you want to. Now, sometimes it can be tough to go right into the full bicycle crunch that way if you're working on all of those elements. So different ways that you can build up to it. You can do the same thing with your feet down, right? This time you're not finding the length of the legs, but you're still thinking of the hips staying heavy, the shoulders going towards the knee as you go into that twist. So you can start there if you want to build into it. Maybe from there, once you feel good, you can start to float one leg into tabletop. So you're getting more work now of the lower abdominals as you float that leg in. And you're still thinking, again, that other hip is rooted down as you twist, so you're not rotating and rocking lower body on the mat. So you can start there. And then if you feel good with that variation, you can keep the legs in tabletop, still do the twist, but now by keeping both of the legs in that lifted position, you're still challenging it by keeping them in the air. And then when you're ready, you can start to reach the leg away from center as you go into the twist. So those are some ways that you can build into it. Now, if you want to challenge the movement a little differently, let's say you're good with the full variation, I like to add pulses into this. So let's say you twist and you stay twisted, and now you kind of pulse up. Maybe you reach the arm, or maybe you just pulse up with the hand behind the head.
come back through center, and twist and pulse. 1, 2. And then again, twist and pulse, and then come into center, and then lower. So you can add in a pulse, and then you can also add a variation where you kind of look to peel the upper back off of the mat some more. So maybe once you go into that rotation, you grab behind the leg and deepen that upper ab curl. See if you can stay lifted as you remove the hand, and then come back to center. And then again, you would twist to the other side, grab behind the leg, pull up higher, bring the hand behind the head as you keep that lift, and then come back in. So you can also mix it in that way. If you choose to add in those two variations, of course, you're going to be going a little slower, and you're really focusing on feeling that extra layer of, work as you peel up, as you add the pulse or the pull away from the mat. So those are some different ways to think about performing your crisscross, and you want to think of flowing with the breathing. So I didn't mention it when we were down, but think of really using that exhale to take you over into the twist. Inhale as you come into center, and then exhale as you go over to the other side. And you can start slow as you build into it. And then once you feel good with the stability on the mat, with keeping your elbows wide as you focus more on pulling the shoulder towards the knee and those things, then you begin to add more of a flow or a pace to it. And then you're challenging it by keeping all of the foundational aspects of the move in place with a faster pace. So that is it for our how-to video on crisscross, a move that I love doing, and it's really the cherry on top at the end of your ab series. For those who know, once you get there, you're like, ugh, but then once you finish it, you feel so accomplished. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully this is helpful as you mix crisscross into your fitness regimen. And until next time, you all have a good one. Bye.